Today's video, I'm actually going to be talking about why I stopped using Finasteride. And honestly, I never thought that I'd make this kind of video because, I've always depended on Finasteride to maintain my hair. But I felt that, I wanted to share this with my viewers because I know a lot of you guys are on Finasteride, and I know a lot of people are considering taking Finasteride. And so I thought that I'd kind of go over some extremely important topics, and hopefully for those that are watching this video, you guys can kind of really listen on some of the research that I've found online and truly reconsider taking Finasteride. The topic of Finasteride is always controversial, and there's a lot of people that leave a lot of derogatory comments whenever somebody leaves comments about Finasteride, or someone leaves, or if somebody does a video on Finasteride, or if you do a search online on Finasteride, there's a lot of haters. And at the same time, there's a lot of people who proclaim that they have zero side effects and all it does is really help them thicken up their hair. Before I get started, I just wanted you guys to know that my video is not a substitute for medical advice. You should always consult with your primary care doctor or a medical physician before taking Finasteride or any other types of medication. This video is simply going to be based on my own opinion and also the research that I've done over the past couple months that has led me to my decision of stopping, of not taking Finasteride. And so I'm not trying to encourage or discourage anyone from taking Finasteride, but rather to expose the information and the research that I've done on the medication. So I had my hair transplant done back in November of 2016 in South Korea at a clinic called Motion Clinic, and I had 1,700 FUE grafts implanted into the front portion of my hairline. And right after the procedure, the doctor there prescribed me dutasteride. I think it was 0.5 milligrams to treat hair loss. And dutasteride is also known as its brand name Avidart. It's just another stronger version of Finasteride. And what dutasteride pretty much does is it blocks types 1, 2, and 3 of the 5-alpha reductase, which inhibits about 90 to 100% of DHT levels. And Finasteride only blocks types 2 and 3, which reduces DHT levels by about 50 to 60%. So dutasteride is actually a more potent medication for hair loss, and it's actually FDA approved in South Korea. But due to time constraints, I actually didn't get prescribed dutasteride. Instead, when I came back to the US, I went to my dermatologist who prescribed me Finasteride. And so starting in December of 2016, I started taking 1 milligram of Finasteride per day. And it's been about 4 months since I've taken Finasteride. And during those 4 months, I didn't have any side effects that a lot of people mention, such as, sexual dysfunction, depression, anxiety, and things like that. I've never really had a severe case of hair loss, but when I did start losing my hair, especially around the temple areas, I did a lot of research over the years on hair transplant doctors and different techniques, but I really didn't spend a whole lot of research on Finasteride or dutasteride. I didn't know that they existed to treat hair loss, but I never researched the medications deep enough to know to see how much it really changes the body's hormones until recently. So when I started posting videos on Finasteride, that's when I got a lot of mixed reviews on people. I had one group of people who just hated, Finasteride. They said that Finasteride is going to ruin you. It's going to, end up killing you. And I had another group of people who said that, I didn't have any side effects. It's really helping me grow out my hair. And so, the topic of Finasteride and even dutasteride is very controversial. And so that's when I started digging into, the effects of what the medication truly does to the body, other than, halting a hair loss. And I didn't start taking Finasteride when I started losing my hair in the temples, because the hair loss wasn't really that bad, and I naturally had a big forehead, so I mean the hair loss wasn't even too bad. I was probably a Norwood 2, Norwood 2.5. But after I did have my hair transplant, I don't want to keep on receding past the hairs that were transplanted, and so I just took the word of the doctor and started taking finasteride. The research that I've done on finasteride is based on reputable sources such as the U.S. National Library of Medicine and National Institutes of Health. And I'm going to be posting the link below of the article in the description box. So feel free to check it out. But in this video, I'm just going to summarize the effects that finasteride has on the sexual function, the central nervous system, and how it affects depression. The scientists got some castrated animals, most likely rats and mice. If you're castrated, you're not going to have testosterone because you don't have testicles to produce testosterone. And so there's going to be reduced erectile function. What they did was they gave testosterone or DHT treatment, and it reversed the reduced erectile function of castrated animals. And they also tested the administration of the 5-alpha reductase inhibitors such as finasteride or dutasteride, and obviously it showed that it blocked the effects of testosterone on erection in castrated rats. And then the scientists administered DHT with or without 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, and it restored sexual behavior in long-term castrated male rats and mice, suggesting a critical role of DHT in erectile physiology. So even when castrated animals were taking finasteride with DHT, it pretty much restores sexual behavior in castrated animals. So it shows how important DHT is in the erectile physiology. Also, the studies show that castrated animals resulted in 50% reduction in erectile response, which was reversed by testosterone treatment. But treatment with testosterone and finasteride did not restore erectile response in castrated animals, suggesting that DHT is an important hormone in erectile physiology. So there was another study on dutasteride this time, which was conducted on animals, and it resulted in reduced DHT levels by nearly 90% after 30 days. The study found that the penile muscle relaxations were significantly shrunk. The authors suggest that discontinuation of dutasteride did not restore erectile function, indicating a time-dependent detriment of dutasteride on erectile physiology. So the longer you take dutasteride, it might have more of a permanent response from the medication. So, as you're taking dutasteride, your penis is going to shrink, and this can eventually be a permanent side effect. There's also clinical studies on patients who were on finasteride for 2 years. So it showed that the incidence of adverse events related to sexual dysfunction were significantly higher in the finasteride group than in the placebo group. These people had issues ranging from ejaculation disorders to erectile dysfunction. Using finasteride obviously is going to cause some type of sexual dysfunction that a lot of people that's been taking finasteride complain about. So, these side effects are real, and it's something that you guys have to really take into consideration. Now, obviously, it's not going to happen to everybody, but you're still risking that chance of getting these side effects. There's also a 1-year follow-up period in Korean men who are using dutasteride, and it was found that the erectile function decreased significantly after 1 month, and it remained significantly reduced even after 12 months of treatment. Orgasmic function and sexual desire were significantly reduced but slowly recovered after 6 months. So, this thing really does mess up your sexual organs. And so, this is one of the reasons why I'm not going to take finasteride anymore. Okay, so let's talk about the central nervous system. There were studies done that show that patients who have been treated with finasteride have reduced or undetectable levels of neuroactive steroids in the brain. Now, these neuroactive steroids are important in modulating learning and memory processes, behavior, as well as responses to stress, anxiety, and depression. And so this explains why some of the noticed symptoms such as anxiety, depression, and suicide in patients who have been treated with finasteride can be seen. So there's this guy on YouTube who says that he's been feeling very suicidal because of taking finasteride. And so if you look at the studies that were done because of the degeneration of neurosteroids in the brain, it's very likely that finasteride was the cause of his suicidal tendencies. Another study was done on the central nervous injury in which asphyxiation was induced in fetal sheep to stimulate neurological stressors. In the presence or absence of finasteride, it showed an increase in cell death in the cerebellum and the hippocampus in animals treated with finasteride. Finasteride treatment in mice showed decreased cell proliferation in the hippocampus, suggesting that the inhibitors of the 5-alpha reductase blocks neurogenesis. So finasteride pretty much kills brain cells, which can also lead to different types of neurological illnesses, such as Alzheimer's, memory loss problems, and things of that nature. Alright, so preclinical studies also show that the 5-alpha reductase inhibitors may contribute to depressive symptoms. Increased depressive symptoms are thought to be linked to finasteride treatment. A statistically significant correlation was observed between use of finasteride and depressive symptoms. Persistent side effects have been noted even after discontinuation of finasteride treatment from 3 months to 11 years, suggesting that the adverse effects of finasteride may be permanent. So guys, in conclusion, those are some of the reasons why I'm going to stop taking finasteride. I know that a lot of these studies were done on animals, but obviously if it's not safe on animals, it can't be safe on humans. And I feel that, my health is going to be more important than what's on the top of my head. And I feel like most people, they're not going to have a severe case of hair loss. So if you work carefully with a reputable doctor and plan out your hair loss, you guys can still maintain a full set of hair. If the hairs behind my hair transplant areas are going to recede, then I'm going to be needing more hair transplants. But I've also read a lot of promising natural alternatives to treating hair loss that also has some of the same effects of finasteride without all of the side effects. So I'm going to be researching more on different alternatives and different types of natural medications that can be useful for hair loss. And so stay tuned for that. But pretty much this is the reason why I'm going to stop taking finasteride. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Feel free to subscribe, like my videos, and leave some comments if you guys have any concerns or questions. And also, if you guys want to talk about your experience using finasteride and what the outcome came to be, or if you stopped it for any reason, please feel to share it with other viewers, because a lot of people want to know about the side effects and the real side effects from people that actually take finasteride. So I'll talk to you guys next time, but stay tuned for my other videos, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.